first off, man, I really appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man. This is my homie Josh Ferguson. We met almost 10 years now.
Yeah, it was
2015.
I guess yeah.
Is it 2015?
It's almost 10 years to the dot because it was fall of 2025. I'm sorry, 2015.
Fall of 2015.
Because we started January
That's
of
right.
2017, 16 maybe?
16.
Maybe might have been 16.
Okay, that's
so we're coming up on
was.
10 years.
We're coming up on 10 years,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we met. We went through Fire Academy together, and then we just became good buds. And then, life takes its courses, and we've never been on the same platoon. So we've never really had a chance to ever work together. But now we're at the same station at least, whatever.
Yeah. See in passing.
Yeah. But no, man, Josh is just a person who I think we connect for a lot of different reasons. There's so many that I would talk about. I mean, one, we were like the two other black folks the department had seen since Jeff Burr. You know what I mean? So it had kind of put us a little bit on the aisles, like him and Zan.
I think the timestamp was like it was 27 years. A 27-year gap between Zan and Bird, whoever was
the
latter.
That was 27 years?
27 years.
And then us.
Yeah.
Bro. So yeah, so then we came in on that, and it was like being able to speak in some ways the same language, like we got to do good.
Yeah.
We got to kill it. We got to
we understood what was going on. Like,
we had to play the game a certain way.
Yeah.
And then, but from that too, also just like met families, people I dated, and then we got much closer after that too. And then just our kids at the same time kind of too.
Yeah.
And then I think also we share another thing, which is that we both have brothers that have been and just family members that have been impacted by criminal justice system, very different ways to be clear. But at the same time, there are just so many different connection points, I think, so that we became friends outside all that other stuff. So, but I just wanted to have you on, man, just to sit and bullshit with you for a minute because we fucking never get to, dog.
Right, yeah.
We never get to.
I mean, it's always like we'll see each other in pass and then be like, all right, I got to get on the rig because we got to go do something, or I got to run because I got to go be somewhere.
Yep.
So, no, it's good.
And I always feel like it's always like that 5 minutes, like real quick, like, how's the kids? How's your lady?
Yep.
How you doing? How's everything at the crib? All right, man.
Good.
All right, take care, brother.
But you know how quick that 5 will turn into 15, 20,
yeah,
25.
Especially with me, man. I need to work on that shit. Me and Waldo hung out a while back. We were up till fucking like 2 a.m. I woke up that next morning trash, and I was just like, this is what happens when we don't talk for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Feels like so much shit to catch up on. So
yeah.
Hopefully this will help, man. But yeah, I think the big thing was I just wanted to have you on, man, and just to take a second because I think there's so much about you just as a person that I like really revere. I think lots of parts of who you are I look up to, both as just like the way you love your kids and care for them, the way you are as like a partner, and just like, how well you do the job, and just the way you kind of carry yourself as a person, the things you advocate for. And we've like done a little other stuff when I did the manual way back, but I also just think you're just a voice that I respect and trust. But yeah, man. So I guess my first question is, bro, like, how do you feel like where you're at now? I mean, since it is almost been 10 years, how has that journey been? Because, like, you're not from Washington, right? So, like, where are you from originally? Because we should probably talk about that, too.
From California. I was born in Hayward. It's kind of I don't want to say a weird deal, but, like, I was born in Hayward, lived in Hayward all my life. In about third grade, I think, it was the third grade where I found Oakland Powell, one of my basketball teammates from my CYO league. His dad was also an AAU coach in Oakland, and so he was like, "Hey man, come play on this team." So about third grade, I started spending a lot of time in Oakland, practicing 4 days a week with games on Wednesdays or weekend, but spending a lot of time. Both parents worked in Oakland. So I started spending almost every day of the week in Oakland and got exposed to a little different type of culture. The Bay Area in general is its own little culture, but you'll hear people say like, I'm not from the Bay, I'm from Oakland.
Right.
And it might scratch your head at the surface, but be like, what? But if you're from the area, you kind of understand what that means. So being exposed to a little deeper part of that Oakland culture that young. So like I'm from Hayward. Like to think raised by both Hayward and Oakland because exposed to a whole lot pretty young early on. So
yeah, and you got that twang. I've always envied that fucking SoCal twang, bro. I never had a twang like that. I got that Pacific Northwest accent, so I don't have no twang, homie. Every time I hear like Marshawn Lynch or somebody talk like that, I'm like, man, that sounds just like Ferg. That shit is so clean, bro. I never had that shit, man. But no, and then football was a big part of your life, and then you at some point, played D1, then went pro, blah blah, and then when you transitioned out of that, you worked in corrections.
Yep.
Correct. How long did you do that for?
I worked in corrections for 3 years. Juvenile detention in Spokane. Worked there for 3 years.
Okay.
Right across.
Put your mic just a little closer to you.
Sorry,
right. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Right across the street from the adult jail. So like I can look out the window and see the adult jail right there. But
okay.
Did that for 3 years, and it was a good experience. Just like all the other things that I've done, for the most part, impacting the youth in some sort of positive way. And so the challenge for me was to show up every day at work, and how can I affect whoever I might run across. Some of them, like sad to say, but some of them are just lost. You can't reel them back in. And so I would show up every day with like the hope that even some of the worst ones that were in there for some of the worst charges, if I can establish some sort of relationship with them, I know what it was like to be back, looking at life through those lenses. And there were still like drops or seeds that were planted by people that came and spoke to me, or that I heard speak, that it didn't develop at that moment when they came to speak. And it was 5, 10, 15 years down the road where it's like, oh, that's what he meant, or that's what he was saying. So hoping to provide that for some of those kids that I work with. But it was a gift and a curse. I couldn't do the 12 hours inside, basically in prison yourself, because I couldn't leave whenever I wanted. Couldn't have my phone on me. Had to stay awake. I was working the night shift. Had to stay awake. So from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. was my shift.
Oh, dang.
And this is after, dadding it all day, football practice, whatever. But that was my shift. And so we had to find ways to keep ourselves awake. But that was the part that wore on me, that kind of was like, I got to find something different. There's no longevity in this. This is a good place to stop for a second, catch my breath. And I know I'm established, but there's no longevity in it.
When you did it, did you feel like a lot of folks had the same attitude you did towards those young dudes?
Some did, but one thing that I noticed, years before I started working in detention, I was a substitute teacher, and very similar where at the time I was one of the younger substitute teachers at these schools that I was going to, and some of the older teachers had kind of checked out and they were there for the paycheck. Just like in detention, like some of the younger ones that hadn't been burnt out would show up with that same focus and energy, desire to like make a positive impact. Mm-hmm. But we also had a few that were like, I've been doing this for 20, 25 years. So I already know how you're going to turn out. I'm not going to waste my time with you, and so
just
on.
Just not giving cats, like, you got to try at least once.
Right.
Just kind of see what I see, try to judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my mentality was like, we had groups that we were assigned to, like they broke down to the detention into 4 different groups. And I would always bid for the worst group, which is like, they did a decent job of separating, these charges over here compared to these charges over here. And I would always bid the worst group. Mm-hmm. Those kids are going to be in there for a long time. They're not going anywhere. I can establish a rapport, build a relationship with them, because I know they're not going to be playing this in and out game. And you're here. We got to figure it out and how to make it, positive for the both of us. So I would bid the worst group, and I had a kid that was in there for a long time. And me and him built a really strong relationship. He reminded me of me when I was back at his age. Mm-hmm. And so I built a really strong relationship with him, and kind of like, not to say that you win somebody like that over and you get the respect of everybody else, but everybody sees how I socialize and how I address him. And it makes all the other barriers easier to break down when they see like, okay, he got through this guy that, so that was a really cool part of the gig. But I don't think there weren't many others that approached it with that mentality. People came in energetic, but I don't think as far as like the mentality of, I don't want to just be here for a paycheck. Like I want to actually make something.
Trying to make an impact. Yeah.
So there were a few, but at least to my knowledge, I wouldn't say that was an overwhelming number of people that had that mentality.
It's just interesting because I feel like even and not even remotely the same thing, but like what Nate does, where he's not actually in a jail, but he the kids are released, and then he's trying to whatever the stuff that my homie Nate does with incarcerated young men. The fact is like. Yeah, like he says a similar thing. Like he works really hard on behalf of them. It's like a big passion. It's like his whole gig, But that it's hard to find people that have the same level of passion and ascribe to those folks the same value.
Right.
Like of like, hey man, you're worth trying for. You're worth trying to, like you said, establish a rapport. See if we can get you moving in a direction that's significantly more positive than maybe the trend you're going on. And that the kind of cascading effect for both their life, the piece of the actual institution, your life, whatever, and just it's cool that you did that. Do you think like that kind of came out like because I don't really know exactly how old you were when your brother was incarcerated?
We're looking at somewhere around 12 years or so. So I was late 20s.
Okay,
I want to say at the time.
Were you in corrections at that time?
I was not.
You were out of it.
I was out of it.
Like you'd already done it.
No, I hadn't been there yet.
You hadn't been there yet.
Hadn't been there.
Was that at all a factor?
No. Funny enough, Mia, my daughter in Spokane, going through a bunch of court stuff with her and her mom, and my attorney at the time was like, "Hey, you got a degree?" We're like, "Yeah." What's it in? Criminal justice? Was like, the juvenile detention center is hiring, benefits, retirement, good wages, decent decent schedule. I'm like, all right. I was working. I was refereeing at the YMCA. I was doing their before and after school care, and I was working the front desk. I was working 3 different jobs all with the YMCA at the time.
Dang.
And so she pitched that, and I was
I
like,
bet that jumper was crispy though. You were sneaking off.
Shoot it a little bit, yeah. But yeah. So she threw that, and I was like, all right. So I shot it and got the job, and that was how I landed it. But it was completely unrelated to anything my brother, was going through, or he'd already been through some stuff. So it wasn't. I didn't go and choose that occupation because I had some exposure to it through my brother. Right. That was just my attorney was like, hey, you can make more money doing this.
Okay. Okay. So then after you did that, bro, like you left and then you came. Like, what kind of got you making that transition? Because you left out of that. And then was it like as soon as you were in corrections after those few years, you were like, the next thing I'm going to do is fire? Or was it like you were kind of just searching, then all of a sudden you found your way there?
I was just, I wasn't really searching. A couple of guys that I was working with, one of them was like, hey, man, we should test for the fire department. And I tested the first go around with him just to see, and was like, okay. And then didn't get it. I missed the interview phase for City of Spokane by 0.04%. Damn. 0.04, right? So I
bro, that would have pissed me off.
And me being green, I don't know nothing about it. I knew nothing about the fire. So I called the lady like, hey, I know I'm 0.04% short, but I've never had a job that I've interviewed for that I didn't get.
Right.
Can I get an interview? And she was like, sorry, numbers are numbers. And I was like, cool, I get it. So I went back and applied for a supervisor position at the detention center. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't ready for it. I really didn't want it. But the supervisor's kind of similar to our gig. Like, you work that job for 20, 25. You retire out of that seat. And it was probably a blessing in disguise because the guy that I was up against had worked down in the detention facility and went up to probation and wanted to finish out his career as a supervisor in detention. And so they chose him knowing that he only had at max 5 years left. So I'm sitting there with, 2.5 years in, like, everybody knows he's not going to be here in 5 years. We're going to sit here and do this again. Mm-hmm. Or, I felt like I interviewed well. I was a legit candidate for it. So I felt kind of burned by that. And I was like, I'm going to go test again. And so I went and tested again. And I was so broke, I could only afford to send my scores to one agency, which was Bellevue.
Bro, and then I've been telling them they need to get over this motherfucking hump, dude.
But public safety matched, because you could pay for one, they match one. Yes. So they matched it with City of Spokane or Spokane Valley or whatever. Gotcha. So those are the 2 agencies that I sent scores to when I tested for the next go around.
And then did you get both?
Maybe, but again, I got Bellevue's. Start the process. I could care less about anything else.
You're like, we're out of there, bro.
That was probably still sitting in my email. Like, hey, you never replied. But that's good. Yeah, I got the Bellevue offer, or at least they opened the door for me. And yep. So
okay, killer, man. And then the part we always tease you about in Academy is that for some reason, bro, which we just have to talk about because it is the greatest fucking heist you ever pulled on any of us. Was we would go do shit with Ferguson and be like, yeah, man, he's got, he's got a place to stay. And I had a condo in downtown Kirkland. I'm like, hey, man. And I had a house that I was renting at the time with the kid. And I'm like, hey, man, if you want, you can crash at the car. You're like, nah, man, I got my own spot. And then like years go by, homie, and I'm listening to a podcast, and he's like, "Yeah, man. So tell me you made it through that academy. It's pretty brutal." Like, "Yeah, man. I was sleeping in my car." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I was watching that like, you can't be serious, bro. But I remember you had a hellish commute because was True born?
True was born in October when we got hired.
Okay.
And so we started the academy. He was like 3 months, 4 months old.
Dang. What is his birthday?
October 29th.
2015?
Yep. 2016.
20. Oh,
Sorry, 16, yeah.
2016.
So we started 17.
Oh, that's maybe what it was.
Right.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I was like, because Huck was real little when I went in, but I was like, okay, but he was bigger than that. All right, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because then I remember just like seeing that. But what was the deal? I'm just curious about that. I know it's something that me and Waldo talk about every time. Like, why did you never be like, yeah, man, I'll take you up on it?
Well, there was a lot of things that contributed. So one, I didn't have the gas to be traveling too far from the training center.
Yeah.
To get to, like, I had a place to stay. My sister-in-law, always an open door in Seattle.
I was close to that. I was 8 minutes away.
I know. I had several. I went and stayed with a friend down in Tacoma. That was too long.
Yeah.
But
that's a drive.
pretty much anywhere outside of Bellevue,
Yeah.
it wouldn't math out for me gas-wise in order for me to be able to make it back to Spokane at the end of the week. So I had to stay, like, dude, like, if we drove around the city, I could point out easily a dozen different spots. Like, yeah, tucked off over there.
Bro, we need to do that trip, dog. I gotta see this.
Funny enough, most of those spots are in 3s area and 6s area.
Yeah, Crossroads, you would have been set up, dog.
Most of them were in 3s and just find a quiet little parking lot, had a blanket and a pillow in the back. And my routine, so I would, like, get out of the academy. We'd kick it after class while, Waldo and those guys are waiting for traffic to die down.
Yeah.
And after we would finish studying or whatever, I'd go to the YMCA, maybe get a little workout in. That would be my time to shower, get cleaned up, hit the Safeway in 6s, grab the Tuesdays, the cheap chicken whatever. Cheap, it might have been Monday, but that's my
why
jam.
You always had it.
That was my jam.
I don't know how I didn't pick up on that.
Because I had lunch, so I can go eat a couple pieces of chicken that night, and then I'd have lunch the next day.
How are you keeping that chicken cold?
It was cold enough in January, February.
This is wild.
Yeah, and then I would find somewhere to tuck off and, doze off, get up in the morning, be ready to go.
And grind it, bro. And we were getting beat up, dog. How you did all that sleeping in your car, man, that will always be to me a remarkable feat, homie. That was crazy. I think that's something that for sure our department's going to have to find a way to potentially address, is just like what we're going to do for folks that don't have. I think there's a lot of like preconceptions about where people are at in their life and how they're coming to the job. Hey, not everybody has the same socioeconomic position, and like not everybody can afford all these tests. Not everybody can figure out how to do housing and travel if they do get the job. So we set up these barriers that prevent really capable people, which we would have almost missed you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just a crazy story, bro. I'm so glad you made it through, dog. And like, to your credit, man, that's a remarkable thing. Now that you're in it this far, is it still good for you? Still good for the family?
I'd do it again.
Yeah?
Without a doubt.
Cool, man.
I'd do it again. I probably would tell Katie a little sooner on because she was so mad. She had no idea. Because
she had no idea.
I knew that if I told her...
what did she think was happening?
I had a homeboy in Seattle that had a little studio that I would stay with, and I would hit her up when I was staying with him.
Yeah.
And
with enough frequency for her to think you were there every night.
Yeah. And this is before she could track my phone too. Like, we weren't married, so she couldn't track my phone to verify exactly where I was at. But she didn't know. She just, tap in with me after, their day is over with. Let me know how the day went, and then we'll see you on the weekends pretty much. Because she had her hands full back home too. It's not like she was just kind of...
No, for sure.
She had a newborn, so by herself. So that was also kind of what was able to, make it work, basically.
Yeah. No, Katie's a G. I always enjoy talking with your wife. I always she's such a good classic to me, like, mom who like also just kind of has a little bit of an edge, which I kind of like. I kind of like that about her. And especially because I feel like she's so protective over you and the kids, and like always just trying to look out, and just a hustler like you. I think you guys both have that like thing of like life's a little bit of survival, and so you both push really hard to like show up in big ways for each other, for your kids, for your family. You know what I mean? I think it's something that I always really, I envy in the very best way.
Right.
I think it's such a lovely thing. So that's really cool, man. I'm so glad you made it, man. But man, it's just crazy, bro. Like I was literally driving 8 minutes and crashing out. Like I had a 2-bed. I'm like, bro, you could have easily. I had 2 beds. I'm like, and I just was going to bed, waking up, like studying at the crib, making a a PB&J, hitting the sack or something. So it was a much more low key experience, man. So
there were a lot of people mad that I didn't say something.
Oh, yeah, I was never mad. I just was like,
well, not mad, but like why didn't you say anything?
Yeah. Well, also because I mean, like, we love you, dog, and you're also just such a part of our like little crew that we like. I think anybody would have been like, hey, man, we didn't want to see, and I think that's also why our classes had so much success. Is like that whole group, to their credit, was a group that was invested in everybody playing well. It was so like, I feel like we completely avoided the high school bullshit. Yeah. I feel like no one had a massive ego beyond the one cat who got snipped from our squad. Yeah. Outside of that, everybody I think was like wanting to see everybody win. So then to find out you were out there just shouldering this like ridiculous ass burden, we were like, bro, we will help you with this.
Well, I mean, it worked. I didn't want to be treated different.
No, I got you. I got you. No, I respected it for sure. I just was like, But anyways, well, if I'm ever in that situation, bro, find me a place to sleep. The point is,
I got you. But, I got you.
But no, man. But outside of that, man, now like the other thing that's really cool, man, is over the last like few years, man, like your family has just expanded a lot. You know what I mean? In the best way. You have such a great squad. But like, how many kids you have? What are their ages?
Got 4 kids. Daughter Mia, she's 13. Yep, just hit the teenage stage. Crazy. She lives in Spokane. 7th grade. 9.5. Thru. Mm-hmm. 3rd grade. Valen is 5.5.
Maniac.
Yeah, young Val.
Maniac.
That's my dog. He doesn't know it, but that's my. He's the definition of tough love. Like, I know deep down it's in there, but he gives me a run. Like he beats me down a little bit.
He's a tough
but he'll start kindergarten this fall, and then Raj, the new addition, 8 months old,
just a handsome devil, dude. Yeah, such a sweet guy.
I think he's gonna be the one that Valen has his days.
Yeah,
I think Raj, he's been we're almost a year into it now, and he's been so chill, easy going, calm. I know it's gonna hit the fan at some point.
Oh, you think?
No doubt about it. I think he's just saving it all for whatever, whether it's the 2s, 3s. I'm gonna say it'll be about that age where it's like, oh, you're a monster. The first year was just to get us like warmed up, but I know it's down in there.
Is that how the other boys were?
True has always been pretty chill. Being the oldest and pretty much an only child for the first 4 years, or he was an only child. Mia would come, for the weekends, our schedule, but for the most part, it was all about him. So he never really, until Valen came, it was easy to kind of like relinquish some of that spotlight for him because he had a good run. He was old enough to understand kind of what was going on.
Got you. Okay.
And then Val, it's funny because Valen, I think the Latin, meaning is like strong-willed and 100% accurate.
Probably the root of valor, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
so,
tied.
But the whole reason that he has locks is because he wouldn't let us brush his hair. When he was about a year and a half old, he would not let us brush, to the point to where he had a dreadlock in the back of his head that we either had to cut or turn it into, turn the whole head into locks. And so I was like, well, if we cut it, we can't, we have to grow it back out. But if we lock it, we can always cut it. So let me try and lock it up. But he fought like tooth and nail every time we tried to brush his hair. And so we ended up just letting his hair lock up kind of naturally.
It looks great.
It came out good, but
yeah, man.
He's the stubborn, tough one that he's he's a character.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
So now that you have 4, and then how long have you and Katie been together?
13.
Dang, man. That's pretty impressive.
We met at Hoop Fest.
At Hoop Fest?
We met at Hoop
Was
Fest.
she hooping?
No.
Oh, it's like Katie playing ball?
Heck no. Katie can't hoop. Sorry, baby.
Katie I was like, hoop. You said hell no, too strong.
Like, no. She plays soccer, but she can't hoop. I was playing for the Shock, and in June, in the summertime, if we're in town, we can go watch Hoop Fest. And I had no idea that was the biggest 3-on-3. It is the biggest 3-on-3 tournament in the world.
It's nuts.
And so I was there, with the team, and we had a mutual friend that introduced us. And so that was how I met her at Hoop Fest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shoot, dude, loving basketball.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yep.
No, man, that's cool, bro. And then, how's it feeling like now? Just like where you guys are at in life, because you guys got the dope spot, you got great kids. You know what I mean? I think. How do you feel like it's all going, though? I mean, it's what it looks like on the outside, right? So I'm asking you, how's it all going?
Right.
It's still a lot. I know it's a lot, but I'm like, is it?
It's weird because all I know is what I was exposed to as a kid. So watching my parents and how they navigated their relationship, my parents were married all up until I went to college. So I saw them together pretty much my entire childhood, or I did see them, my entire. So to compare what I saw growing up to what me and Katie have, I feel like we're still kids navigating through life, but we have kids ourselves, and like, cause all of this is new,
It's a different vibe,
right? Yeah. So and I never gauge how I'm gonna parent. There are things that I would like remember, like, oh, this was effective, or I remember this, but we're all different. So, learning and fumbling our way through this together has been it's been everything. It's been a balancing act. It's been, there's been some friction. There's been a lot of love. It's been everything, which is probably the best thing about it, is like, we both understand that, where she might fall short, I'll pick up the slack, and then vice versa, which is probably the more likely scenario where I'm falling short and then she's going to pick up the slack. So, it's been a finely tuned dance where everything's not perfect, but we make it work, and I can at least give the appearance that things are great. But I wouldn't know any different. If it looks great on the outside, it's great on the inside.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so
I love to hear it, dude. I just feel like, I think you guys are such a squad that I really just like, there's people, and also just like family setups, and like, I know how much goes. I don't know everything, right? But I mean, like, I know enough to know that there's a lot cooking in your life always. It has to be, with having one kid in Spokane, and you got your 3 here, brand new baby, and everything that they need. And then on top of it, you guys both have very demanding careers. And so it's just like anything. Like, I know there's a lot shaking. So I'm always just like so hopeful, I'm like, I want it to go so good because it's such a good squad. So it's like, it just makes me happy. On the outside looking in, everything looks great. But it's just like, I was just checking in, just making sure,
everything is good.
It's hard. It's just hard to hold it all together, and people rarely talk about it because everybody wants to look like everything's perfect. You know what I mean? Like, our job, like, you might talk close with certain people, but like, you really have no idea.
Right.
And I'm always like, but then all of a sudden something bad happens. I'm like, man, I wish you would have told me, bro. Like, maybe we could have helped you out. Maybe it would have been beneficial to have someone to process shit with, or bring questions to, or just something. It's hard to do life alone. There's so many scenarios, like you were talking about, like you and Katie being kids, falling, kind of failing upward a little bit. Like, you make a mistake, you learn, you do better, but it's not like exactly how everything's going to go and every right choice to make. But that's like one of the benefits, I think, sometimes of our jobs that doesn't get utilized enough, is like that ability to have an actual community where you can bring some of those things to, and just be like, yo, man, I'm in this spot. What am I going to do about this? Or like, this isn't going exactly right. Or my son's doing this, you know what I mean? And you have the people you do it with.
Right.
It's helpful to have that.
Yeah. It's tough too, because that's just not who I am as a person. So I'm pretty reserved. Trust goes a long way. It takes a long way to get, to get trust.
Gained in drops, lost in buckets. That's my days.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Couldn't have said any better. But that's so, if something goes sideways, I've always shouldered some of the worst things, and, people don't know what's going on. So, but like you said, you have your select few that you can talk to them, like, whether it's a watered down version or
sure.
whatever. But it's tough because I've always been that way. I've seen how being too exposed or too vulnerable can end up, and that's kind of just what's molded me into the human that I am today. Grew up seeing that kind of thing, so that's kind of where, like, a lot of like my demeanor and the way that I process things and like my relationships.
You've always
with people,
been cards close to the vest.
Yeah. So that's just, but
that's like my brother-in-law, but it's like, he's Muslim, so it's like the evil eye. So it's kind of like, I can't be letting people see. You can't talk about anything. Anything is good. It's like, you got to keep that tight.
Yeah.
But I fuck with it. I think the thing is, I grew up in a world where, like, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where people kept cards close to the vest. And my other experience is like, You should have asked for help.
It goes both ways.
You should have talked to someone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Both ways,
no, it's just funny. It's just funny because it's not that it all is wrong. It's just like it's just funny how like, oh, I'm this way because I saw how when there was like this thing, it was like, bro, y'all are in a cave, and like not one time did you go like, hey, we need help in here, bro. But no, man, I love to hear it, man. It's really cool. I'm glad that everything's going so well. Yeah. And now that you're like deep in the game on the job, I feel like it's crazy how quick time goes. We are being, as far in the career as we are, and like also, you're just still at that point now, like starting to hit that like more middle senior spot on the truck crew and kind of having more, having younger dudes on you. It's just like weird. It feels like we were just in that spot. How are you liking kind of the role and the way that like work has fit into your life and stuff, man?
It's funny because it almost feel like it's the same way with like fatherhood and my marriage. Like I've been doing it for a while. Like I've got a flow and a process. Like I understand how to make it work, but I still feel like I'm young in it to where like I'm feeling my way through it. So like same like the fire service. Like yeah, we're 10 years in, been in the truck for a few years, got some younger guys underneath us, but it's like I'm still learning, trying to get better. Like 100%. You know how much there is to learn, and, like the skill side of it, and like there's a lot. So, but I still feel that not that I'm lacking, but like I don't want to be the weak link.
Yep.
And so I don't ever see complacency like, oh yeah, I don't need to like whatever. Like if the guy, how it is, we're always training, doing something.
Sure.
I could never see myself like, oh yeah, they got this, or I don't need to go. It could be something I've looked at over 50 times, but I still need to go and watch because I might learn something on the 51st time.
100%.
And so there's that side of it, but then also being the guy that the younger guys might look up to. And I've always been, at least like to think that I've been a leader by example, maybe not necessarily by like the way that I speak or giving the big rah-rah speeches and that. I've always liked to lead by example. So hopefully just the way that I set the stage and the way that I attack the day or whatever the drill is or whatever it might be, I don't need to say a whole lot, but hopefully I can just display that leadership by the way I carry myself throughout, my career.
Oh, I totally think so, man. I think that's actually one of the things it is like, I mean, out of our group, me and Waldo are the Chetty Cathys. You know what I mean? I think in so many ways, like it can be just the person who's like, man, I show up in things I'm tasked with, my obligations. I do those well. I make sure that I manage my section of the yard. And so that way, like, I can be accountable to that, and therefore I'm reliable. And for people that are coming up trying to figure out how to, like, find their way in anything, you know what I mean? Like, that's a nice thing to look up to. And you're such a helpful dude. Like, if someone doesn't know, you would be one of the first people to be like, man, dude, let me help you out. So I think that's the other thing, too. You just have, I think maybe that comes from the same spirit you had with the young dudes at the correction facility or doing substitute teaching, right? Just that your ability to see people that are in a position like, dude, let's make it good. Like, what do we got to do to make that good, man? So that's really cool. So now that you're in this spot, bro, like, one, I think the other thing, too, I probably won't put this in the podcast, but it was cracking me up. Drew I can't remember were you just teaching a class?
Yeah.
What were you
So
teaching?
we did Tech Rescue Day with the academy with the recruits.
Okay. Was that recent?
Yep, this was a month and a half ago, maybe.
It was something.
A month ago.
Or were you doing trench? Did you just take a class? Did you have to, or confined space? Did you have a class left to take?
I had to back out on confined space this upcoming week.
Okay.
But we just did Auto X.
That's what it was. Auto X. And then someone was cracking a joke, and he was like, yeah, you were down there. Rockwell goes, yeah, you were down there all week with Ferg and his muscles. And he was fucking with, I can't remember who he was fucking with on the crew. It was Ingman maybe or something. That was so funny. It's cracking me up,
I love Drew.
Yeah.
I love Drew because if you don't work with him and you don't spend much time around him,
you
don't really know a whole lot about him because he's not going to give you a whole lot. And so working with him at Sevens for a handful of months, learned a lot about Drew. He learned a lot about me. So we got a good relationship, and he's always got those one or two liners where always holstered and ready to shoot. So
he's such a good dude. It's been great that he joined the crew, man. I learned a ton from him. He's a super competent guy, so it's been really fun.
Yeah.
How's everything for you, man? I know that like we touched on your brother a little bit, but curious about how you're doing with that and how you're kind of carrying that all the time. I mean, I know that's something that weighs on you. I try to be judicious about letting you, I think that's one of the things, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but like I don't try to bring up the stuff that I know in your life is heavy. I assume that should you want to talk about it.
Right.
And most people, other people, I would check in on them.
Yeah.
I would be like, hey man, how's everything going with that? I do it occasionally.
Yeah.
But when you see me most of the time, I'm not going to be like, hey, how's everything going
Right.
with, the situations in your life that feel like they're more complex. And like, I feel like if you have this spot and you want to talk about it, I'm always, it's always been that way. I'm always going to listen and pick up and do whatever I can to help. But I am curious in this one instance, if you want to talk about what you also don't fucking know.
Yeah, no, we can. Yeah.
But I'm just curious to know how you're doing with that, man.
It's trying to think of the best place to start. There's a lot, right? So he's been down for, like I said, at least 12 years now. And the climate of today in the country socially was way different back when he was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
There was no COVID. There was a lot of things that hadn't happened in this window since he's been incarcerated to where we're at today. And so throughout this roller coaster of appeals being denied or failed motions, hearing whatever, what have you. So that's kind of one aspect that we have no control over, like the vulnerability of being at kind of the whim of the judicial system. Like, you're powerless in a sense. Like, you can do everything right and you still don't get the result you want. And that's kind of a tough reality to swallow. And the toughest part about it for me is like, I'm not the one that's impacted by this. Like, yeah, I am, but the direct impact
by proxy,
right, is my brother. So like, I don't spend a whole lot of time in my head about like, oh man, like, yeah, it'd be nice to have, like, I got one brother. It'd be nice to have him out and be able to share with him all the things that I go through and experience life together, without having to, communicate through glass.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, that weight is nothing, because I understand one, I've worked in that environment. And I, like you said, by proxy, I know what he goes through. So, trying to be uplifting and positive and be kind of a safer space, or, a glimmer of positivity when I talk to him, I never let how I might be feeling about his situation show anywhere, really. Like, it wears on me, but it's not something that
it's none of his business.
Right. So I don't, and then that just kind of like trickles into my daily life. Like, there's a lot of people that we work with that have no idea about, his situation. So, yeah, I don't feel the burden, the weight of it. The one thing that I have been feeling lately, just watching all the Supreme Court things and just everything with, the judicial system today and some of these different rulings. And I keep a close eye on that stuff because I'm always interested to see on how things turn out and the way they unfold. Mm-hmm. And the climate of today, racially, socially, however you want to spin it, isn't great. And so watching how everybody navigates,
it's been great forever, bro.
Yeah. Watching how everybody navigates through that,
yeah.
And then trying to like make sense of what he's going through, has been a little tough, because it's been amplified more recently, it feels like. And so that's it's just a tough thing to deal with, but I'm dealing fine with it. I'm just trying to stay positive for him and help keep him in the right headspace.
Yeah, man. I think it's a tall task also too, just because like, it sounds like every time I talk to you guys are super close.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sure he is, as much as you talk about him, I'm sure he is concerned about you. And I think that's the other thing too, is like that experience of like being so excited to hear about all the stuff you get to relate to him about your life and all the things he gets to be a part of too through you. And I always have so much hope for that scenario, man. But I just know it's something like we talk about this all the time. Like, same thing when I had Bryce on, or any guest. It's just like what it is getting older. Like people just walking around carrying heavier stuff. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll like see someone who's like my granny, she's 103. And like, I just know a lot of what she's been through. Mm-hmm. And whenever I see her, I'm like, bro, you're just carrying fucking massive stones, like just huge weights that like none of us can see.
Right.
And she's so generous with like all the kindness and warmth and like love and joy that she offers to so many of us. But I'm not fooled.
Yeah.
I'm not like,
yeah.
there's some shit popping and you're doing a crazy good job of handling it. And just the people I care about, I always want to just check.
Yeah.
So,
you never have to feel like, again, like I'm not somebody that's going to be like, hey, by the way, we just lost this appeal, or hey, like it's just,
I know that.
Or like it's just even any information really around that, unless it's like great news. That's kind of like, not that I'm waiting for that day, but that's just not, but anybody that asks, one, I know if somebody's asking is because they care, because I've only shared that information with people that have cared enough to ask, and continually ask. I get asked all the time by people at the department, different officers, people I work with. They always check in, like, hey, how's your brother? Because if he calls, I'm gonna pick up.
Right.
Like I will never not pick up.
Right.
So a lot of people are exposed to my situation just through like, oh, I got to take this phone call, explain it later. But so yeah, people check in and they ask all the time, and I know that the ones that reach out and I ask, especially multiple times over a long course of time, like I keep track of that stuff, and I'm always willing to share with those that take the time to ask or that show that they care. People are curious. I can break it down for them, but it's also not something that I'm like willing to just throw out there, because there is a lot of judgment that comes with it, and we hear stuff all the time. So I'd rather not get in too far into that side of it and spend more energy on the side that matters.
100%. I think and it's a very, very different scenario. But even when you go through something, like even when my brother died, that whole thing of like, I knew his story, like him going to MaxSec, being there for a number of years, how much that altered his life, even when he got out, and all the hard things he went through. Certain cats knew, but it was also like one of those things that like anything, when you go through stuff that's like rough, like people can only offer you so much space.
Right.
And I already know that people are going through other things. And my thing was like, it's changed in different seasons, but like sometimes I'm down to talk about it. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about it. Yeah. Even if I have talked to that person before and I trust them, I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, nah, man, I don't really want to, and it's weird how it kind of ebbs and flows, So, but okay, well, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad to know that like you feel like you at least have you have like a network. I guess is what I'd say. I just feel like that's a good deal. But one thing I think about a lot is like, you always have a scheme. I know right now, like it's so funny. I think it actually might just be like a firefighter thing, bro. But like, it's like you for sure have a scheme, because like if I'll tell you like, nah, man, I'm about to do this, I'll do that thing. No, that didn't work out, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm about to do this thing over here. It'd always be and then it'll be some other thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, man, this grass growing so fast, I could barely cut it. I'm like, oh man, not me. I got a GPS guided lawnmower that does all kind of shit for me. I don't have to do it, but
that thing has made life so much easier. It was, I wouldn't say it was a necessary purchase, but I got my money's worth already, because I got a fresh lawn outside of the rainy season when people are mowing. Every weekend I hear the whole neighborhood mowing, and I'm in the backyard, tossing the ball around, or in the front shooting hoops, and my yard is crisp 7 days a week. So.
Bro, it should be an ad. I love it, dog.
It is what it is.
If I fuck with it, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love the reaction, because you got a what? Like, yes.
Everybody's.
Yep. Yes, I did. I went and did it. And it's been well worth it. I'd do it again. If it broke down to me today, I'd go grab another one.
Hey, man, that's such a strong ass review, bro.
Dude, the time that, like cliche, but like what price can you put on time? And so to be able to spend the time, like it would take me, the way that my yard is shaped, I either have to pay for a 0-turn mower, which would like it's more than what I bought the robot for, or I'd have to push mow it or ride on, which would at least an hour and a half to 2 hours every week if I want to do it weekly. And so what are the day 5, 6, 7? What does the grass look like then?
100%.
But if I spend what I would have spent, half of what I would have spent on the 0-turn on this robot that's going to do it for me every 2 days, don't have to worry about clippings. Don't have to worry about the time, and I can go and do whatever else, spend that time with the family. So it was a no-brainer for me.
I love it.
It's easy money.
Do you got a scheme going right now? Anything you're trying to do?
I got a bunch of projects at the house, but scheme is just trying to make money, make more money so I can fund those projects.
It feels like, tell me if you're feeling this. You all got 4 kids. I mean, so you have to be feeling this, but like it feels like it's the most expensive it's ever been.
Yeah.
To be alive.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel the pressure the most now economically that you
Yes.
felt? Yeah, bro.
I was just thinking about that last week. Like, the cost of everything is one thing. Like, we're pretty good with our money, but it's like having to plan ahead because even though that I don't pay for gas, I got an EV, Katie still pays for gas. And so like the things that we would want to go and do, we got a couple of trips lined up that we're going to be, road tripping it. Mm-hmm. So like that thought is always there. Like, how is the cost of gas and the cost of all these different things going to affect what we want to do in life? And so it's been a little bit of a burden, but I've always been one, like, God has always figured it out for me. Mm-hmm. If I haven't been able to figure it out, or I'd like to think I figured it out myself, mm-hmm. God has always looked out. So regardless of whatever today looks like or tomorrow, God has always looked out. Always, like, without a doubt. So if gas hits $10 tomorrow, might struggle a little bit, but figure it out. I know He's got me.
Yeah.
So
I also think too, you are just like such scrappers that like you and Katie come down like, nah, we're doing this and blah blah. Like, nah, man, we opened up we're doing a kitchen out of the garage, or whatever. Like, I opened up a carpentry business and I'm doing whatever. Or like, now I'm doing like, which is like, it sounds so funny today to people. Like, anytime you tell people about like hustling and having like side hustles or multiple jobs, there's like a certain kind of almost like elitist attitude. I remember having conversations with guys from different generations in the job, and they just come from the whole thing where it was like, we made enough for, my partner to stay at home and to have these kids and do that. And I'm like, yeah, the game might be a little different now, but like sometimes it could be hard to hear. But I'm like, man, I was listening to my granny tell about last time I was in East St. Louis, and she was talking about like what her hustle was, because her husband, my grandpa, I guess, had kind of a decent job in an era when there was still a lot high volume of segregation. Mm-hmm. But also on the side, my granny was like doing seamstress work, doing hair, doing all kinds of, just having like, and these were cash businesses. They're not like, whatever, but that's like what they did to make it all work. And so sometimes like whenever I'm like, oh yeah, I might have to like pick up this other side, I'm like, that's all right, bro. Like, this is what we always had to do, kind of. And I think in the same way, that's where so much of life is just like making it, like you said, just making it work and being like, hey man, like what happened? Like, well, dude, we're the product of the generation we're in. And right now it seems like everybody wants to cut tax breaks for people that have billions of dollars and let the rest of us fucking grind it out. Which I'm like, I'm not voting for that shit, but I mean, if that's what you're into. So I think in the meantime, like, I'm glad y'all are making it. I know that I see both you and Kitty hustling and just swapping kids. Sometimes I'm always shocked at how you do it. It's got to be a full force, like, team game. Ships in the night, I'm sure it's sometimes like passing and dropping and moving. I got work this, I got work events here, and like, oh, I got this, and I got to pick up this overtime. And like, I can see where it's a tricky hustle, man. But you do it so well, and the kids always seem so good, man. So it's an impressive thing.
Yeah. We've done it long enough now to where like it is what it is. Like, oh, we need a sitter this day, and most of the stress that is involved in that, I'm not gonna lie, is because of me. Like, I either forget dates or tell her something last minute, or fumble in some way, and so we end up having to like stress. And she's like, I wish you would have told. But it like outside of my mishaps, we gotta. It's pretty coordinated, our efforts, and we make it work. I was waiting for the day where I could sit down at the station, coming off shift, and sit down, have a cup of coffee with the oncoming crew, relax, not have to rush. And it was gonna be this year, and then boom, pops out Raj. So another 5-6 years, we back to like
he's gonna start over. My guy.
8:00, I'm out. I gotta be here, which is cool. I mean, that's just what life brought, and I can wait another 5 years for it.
And you also you're gonna have a fleet in a little bit here. Right. Like you're gonna end up having, I would say, I don't know for sure, but I would think like with Truth on, then all of a sudden Kitty hopefully will have some more help as they get older. Yeah. And she could be like, hey, and then maybe that might slow your mornings down a little bit. So maybe it'll only be like 3 years or something.
Right. This has been the most help that we've ever had. Just by having True old enough to be able to help us go grab diapers or watch him while we make dinner. Or this has been the most help that we've ever had consistently at home. Just by having the 2 older boys.
Do you guys feel like you're in zone coverage, or are you still man to man right now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Val's getting up there.
I think we are. It's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like a little bit of both.
Okay.
Sometimes we're man to man. Sometimes we're zone.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. But
Okay.
yeah, having the two older boys, they're such good big brothers. Especially Valen. If Valen was the oldest, True does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
However, Valen's heart and the way that he looks out for the family, if I could pick him up and drop him age-wise ahead, easy money.
Mm-hmm.
He is the Valen will fight anybody for any one of us, like legit.
You guys done that little TikTok trend with him? You seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Basically, what you do is you gotta be like have Katie somewhere in the house with the phone on where he can't tell, like on the couch. So you put him on the couch, then you gotta open up the door and go, "Yo, we gotta go." And he's gonna be like, "What?" Like, this guy out here, he wants to fight me, and he's got a son your age.
I've seen
and
those.
you have to fight. You see it, and
those.
then there's always the kid's like, "No, I don't want to fight." And this kid's like,
Nah.
"Let's go, bro."
I'd be very surprised if Valen wasn't like the ones that are putting on their shoes, like what as they're getting the story.
It's too good.
That's just in him, which is great. I love it because that's my idea of what a big brother should do, and he does it even as the little brother. Like if True had problems with the kid and Valen knew about it, I would go try and check that kid, no doubt. So we're trying to instill that in True, and he'll get there. I told him, you don't have a choice but to be a good big brother. It is what it is.
It is
like,
the job.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Like there's zero compromise. You're the oldest. This is our expectation. This is what it's going to be. Because part of like to kind of go back to my brother, I don't feel like I failed as a big brother. I know there was moments where I might have exposed him to a little too much and helped him grow up, too fast. And I don't want to say I feel guilty about the way things unfolded, because I can't control some of the decisions or the places or whatever. But there is that thought of like when I went away to college and we were no longer as close, not only proximity wise, but like I didn't talk to him every day when I was in college, and that was kind of where he started to stray. And so there is that thought like, damn, what if, I even tried to get him to come out to El Paso with me, and I was going to take guardianship to be able to come out there and go to high school senior year while I was going to school there. And that didn't work out. So there is a little part of me that thinks like, what would that look like today if, we either had remained as close as we were when I was, because even though he's 5 years younger than me, but he was always my right-hand man, always there, hung out with me and my friends. He was always around. So when I left for college, and you know how it is for kids that grow up with bigger brothers and they spend time with all of the big brothers' friends, when they get around kids their age group, you can't really tell them a whole lot. Like, this is light work
right here. We were doing something way beyond this, especially a 5-year gap.
Right,
that's a big gap. Yeah.
So, so that's why a big part of me is, even regardless of whatever my brother's situation was, I believe in you're the big brother. You got to shoulder a lot of things. You got to take on a lot of things. You got to set the example. It's a tall task, and so you got your hands filled. But I'll walk you through it.
Even still, the fact that like there's that level of concern already in Valen with a heart of like the most important thing is my family.
Yeah,
it's pretty powerful to have that in a person that young.
Right.
You feel that depth of like loyalty and like. And even if he does have like, his spats with his big brother, it's like it clearly understands the difference between you and me are having a beef and like what really matters.
Right.
Like this is a whatever thing, dude. You kicked my cars over. You won't let me use this. You're not letting me watch my show, whatever. You're killing my man in the video game, whatever it is. Yeah. That's one thing. And then the whole separate thing of like, is everybody good? Yeah. That's a different thing. It's a cool thing to see that kind of show up in certain human beings that you're like, oh, shocker, you kind of got the biggest dose of that. It's just kind of unique how that works.
Yeah, I tell him I tell True all the time, like, dude, you will be a better big brother. I said, but you got to understand, like, Valen looks up to you. Like, he wants to wear the same shorts as you. He wants to wear the shades like you wear. He started all the swag, dude, all the drip. He started throwing his T-shirt over his hoodies like you, mismatched shoes. Like he wants to be everything that you do. Bro. Like you're setting an example that he wants to be so bad. Even through all the other the petty big brother stuff, he still wants to be exactly like you. It means a lot to Val, and so
it's cool though too that you know something about that.
Yeah,
be able to tell through that from the lived experience you have.
Yeah,
I got an uncle who I love dearly, my Uncle Brian. He's the baby of the 6. That's on my mom's side. And his heartbreak, I think one of the largest wounds, which isn't really anyone's fault beyond just the nature of what happens in life when your siblings get older and they move away. Mm-hmm. But his experience is always, you don't understand. He'll tell you in a moment where he's like a little bit tipsy. He's like, it was like a field of heroes, like the Justice League, bro. And I was like the new man on the totem pole. And then one after the other, they all left. Not against him, right? But I got married, or I went on this military deployment, or football took me here, or I went to medical school, or whatever it was. Like life just took people these different places. Right. And I think that was an injury that wasn't intentional, but I think that level of proximity of how people stayed in contact, I think that's the part that was hard. Is they didn't mean, it wasn't that they had ever forgotten about him. It was just that they also maybe weren't told hey, it's going to matter not just now when you're here, because they're going to model everything after you. It does matter that you still touch base with them from time to time, because while you're off living your life, which is totally your right, you are still the biggest thing that this person knows till they get out in their own space. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it is cool to be able to have that insight, and that they're so close. And then also I think Raj is such a good thing too for Val to have him, but Raj's whole thing will be you're not getting it, dude. I had these two brothers. True was crazy fast. Val was knocking everybody out. And it is weird how that goes. And you don't necessarily pick that. I have that even with my sisters, man. So it's just cool that you've been able to keep those boys so close and aware of the value of each other. It's also fun to see them out. I just love seeing when all the boys are out. But dude, the best ever was when we did Huck's birthday. And then were you here when they were doing the broad jump? Were you here for that?
I don't know. I didn't. I might have been working.
Okay, maybe you were working, and then Katie brought him.
Yep, I was working.
And so then what happened is all I remember was they were here, and everyone's doing the broad jump, right? And True does really good, right? Tanner does good. Huck does good. All his little buddies are doing good. And Valen is it's everybody's in 4th grade or whatever. And he's I'm all right, Val, it's your turn. He's yep. He's more locked in than anyone else. And it's that pressure of I'm not going to be the worst jumper here with and just that, you can just see those big eyes, man. Just wanting to fit in. So dude, just a lovely little dude, man. Yeah. If you were to say, man, ideally, what life looks like in the next 5 years for you guys, what are you hoping happens? Maybe it's still just everything stays the same, continues on this path, or is there something else that you're hoping that you get to in a certain place? Or
let's see, 5 years, choosing 8th grade, so he won't be in high school yet. So in 5 years, hopefully not much has changed. At least at the bones of it, the development, all that stuff, we're gonna, the continual progress is always the goal. Yep. But hopefully not much has changed. Okay. Hopefully I can look up or I guess look back and be I'm doing a decent job. Because that's my metric. If I can teach my kids, one, like I said, lead by example, and then also teach them things that they can better themselves through and become young men and affect the world in a positive way, then that's kind of how I'll gauge my success as a parent. Regardless, it's as fun as it is to see how they navigate through sports and Valen and his art and this and that.
What a talented artist that kid.
The gold standard. It's I haven't lost sight of what actually is important. All that stuff is cool and we're gonna have a lot of fun watching all that other stuff, but I'll gauge how well of a job Katie and I have both done based on the type of humans that we've produced. Manners, morals, work ethic, all that stuff. So if we can continue, we're on par with everything. There's nothing that stands out where I'll be all right, we're gonna have to watch this for the next couple of years, or when he gets older we're gonna have to watch this. There's nothing that jumps out at me. So hopefully we can just keep on pace with what we're doing. We live a really good life. We enjoy a lot of things in life. So hopefully just continue to share memories and create memories and continue to grow and head in the right direction. But I don't see a whole lot changing in 5 years. But I will say, in 5 years, all kids will be in school. So that was the first thing that
popped in your head.
Oh yeah, all kids will be in school.
That's gonna feel like a pay raise when you don't have, because you guys pay for daycare. Yeah, that's gonna feel like a pay raise when you're out of that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think so. We just finished up with 2. I think this is Valen's last month of daycare.
Okay,
so we'll be down to 1. Yep. We got 5 more years of that, but that, like you said, it'll be like a pay raise. It'll be a legit pay raise when all kids are in school. Expensive. But like you take all that money that you're saving, and now True's 15.
Oh
almost.
Yeah, you're right. You might just be throwing it back into sports or something.
So we'll call it a wash
or whatever.
Yeah, because between the travel teams, sports teams, whatever, and his food intake.
Is he a bottomless pit?
Not really, not yet. I think he's gonna be the skinny kid that you like. Where does it go?
Yeah,
like I see you eating all this. I see you eating all this food, but where does it go? He's not there yet, but I think that's how he's gonna. I think that's how he'll pan out, and I think Valen is gonna be the same way. So, we'll cut some corners, save some money on the backside of like no more daycare, no more diapers,
but it'll be out the other window.
But the pantry is where it's gonna hurt. Yeah. So.
Okay, man. Well, then what's something right now that you're like, man, I'm really looking forward to this? Something maybe in the summer, something at a career level, something with you and Katie, something like this, or something that you're like, man, I'm really looking forward to this?
Long-sighted, I'm really looking forward to being able to spend time with Katie, with adult or like self-sufficient kids. When I met her, it was a wild situation where I wasn't with Mia's mom when Mia was born.
Right.
And so Katie and I met pretty early on, and it was like, it's crazy. A lot of people like, run the numbers and are drawing the lines and was like, so how does that math out? But the reality is if Katie and I didn't meet when we did, it probably would have never happened. And if she would have chose to run, who knows what would have happened. But she stuck with it. I told her what was going on. She stuck with me, and we made it through a lot of tough times. But we've always had a kid. So it was Mia for the first, 4 or 5 years, and then True comes along, and then it's True, and then 4 or 5 years later is Val, and then 4 years later is Raj.
You spaced them out.
You
spaced them out.
Yeah, we've always had young kids, so we've never had that time for just me and her. And so like long term, I can't wait to be able to get to where it's just me and her, and the kids are self-sufficient. Even if it's True's in college, Val's in high school, Raj is about to be or whatever, and we can go and vacay here or there. But whatever that might look like, I can't wait to be able to like, we don't have to care for little kids anymore. Like we can actually focus on us. And
well, bro, let's try to see how we can like make that shit happen now, bro. Like
we still do.
Okay, because I'm a big proponent of. I never like things that are like, well, one day. Yeah. I'm not a fan of one day. I've never been a big one day guy. So I'm kind of like,
that day might not come.
Right. So I'm kind of like, okay, how can we orchestrate this where like I could show up, we could figure some kind of thing out, whatever. Because I'm like, especially once it comes to the summertime, where it's like, dude, I'm gonna have my kid with me for 5 days. You stack 3 more kids. I take my sister's 3 kids, so it's like you give me 3 or 4 more kids, bro. I'm set, dog. We'll figure it out. Like, because I'm like, but my thing is like, especially if it gets you guys a break or gives you some kind of other experience, even if it's not all the time. Like my sister and Aziz, like they need to go do stuff because I'm like, you have 3 young kids. They're spaced out kind of far, so I'm like, you're not gonna do anything ever if we don't help you. Like it's not gonna happen. So. Yeah, man, just don't hesitate to ask.
Even then, it's like that's more like a break, right? It's not really a lifestyle.
I know it's not. Yes.
So like I'm excited for the lifestyle. Gotcha.
Like,
I'm excited for that.
For the day to day.
For the you seen Friday After Next where he was like, yeah, you want to rancho cucamonga? Me and your mom's gonna be at the house, and I'm but that's what I'm looking forward to that lifestyle. Like where
I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah. Okay. What's one thing right now that you're like, you're unsure about, anxious about, waiting to see what'll pan out? Something that's kind of lingering in your mind that you're like, kind of in your head. Doesn't have to be negative or positive. Just something you're kind of like, this is in my attention. It's in my sphere of thought.
Probably sports. Sports is a huge part of my life. Sports literally got me where I am today. Without it's not a direct line of like I played here and this is where I'm at now, but without playing sports, there's a lot of dots that wouldn't have connected in my life, and I'm sure would have been able to draw other lines and make other connections. Sure. But sports was such a big part of my life and who I become, and so looking ahead at what does that mean for my kids, and so trying not to project too much of that onto them and the weight of that onto them so that they don't carry that in how they navigate through life. But also I understand like the positive impact that it could have with them if they use it in the right way. Sure. And so all that stuff, like from injuries, like your health in sports, grades, your attitude, what kind of teammate. So making sure that I do the best that I can to help guide every single, all the kids along the right route to help put them in the best position, have success in that area, because they all love it. It's not something that I had to spoon feed to them. Like I have forced True to play basketball. He told me, he said, "Dad, I'm a football player." I said, "Son,
oh, you haven't even tried."
Yeah, I said, "You just try. All your buddies are playing, but outside of that, I've never forced any of them to play any sport. Yep. We'll give it a shot and see if you like it. Yep. And they all love it. So without trying to force too much of that on them, but at the same time trying to lay out a blueprint is like the dance where it's like, okay, I don't want to make you do this, but if I know this works, how can I shine the spotlight on it so that you can see that this is gonna work for you? Totally. So that's probably like my biggest. And if all of them were like, I'm done with sports today, we'll figure out something else. Yeah. That would suck in the aspect that that's how a lot of our bonding is done through sports. Like we bond on other things too, but I've lived that, been through that. So like that's a shared experience that like I'm closely connected to, that I know how to I know what that feels like when you score your touchdown or when you shake somebody or when it doesn't go well and you miss it, whatever. But so if they decided they didn't, want to go that route, yeah,
he might end up being like your little Picasso.
I'm all in for it.
It's incredible what he can do.
Way more money and better health. So yeah,
I do think also too, like the good thing that you guys do, like you said, is just exposing them, encouraging them, letting them do the things they love, and also like being like, hey man, it's easy to say no when you've never done it. Right. When you're little, you just don't always know even what you like. That's a lot different than forcing a kid. Where I've seen you, we know that kid on the team. It's like, bro,
you shouldn't be.
Get me out of here, dog. Just get me out of here. Yeah. Okay, and then what's one thing right now that's like tricky? What's something that's kind of hard?
One thing that's tricky, I think the trickiest thing that I'm dealing with now is probably how to. I've kind of like adopted a new, I don't know whatever you want to call it, but like I have to tell myself throughout the day, like, don't get mad. Like somebody cut you off in traffic, or somebody does something stupid in the grocery store, or just it's super easy to get frustrated with all of these outside influences and like spike, just go from 0 to 10 and like crash out or whatever. But like, so don't get mad. And like, you wouldn't see me as being like an animator. Like you'll never know when I'm like fuming. Like I might say something, you're like, oh, he's really upset, but like I won't project, like you won't see that in my actions. And so throughout the day, there's times like, okay, don't get mad. Like, don't worry about that. And so one of the things that's tricky about that is like there's so many things that I look at left, right, straight ahead, behind me, whatever, where it'd be easy to get mad. And so trying not to let what's going on over there distract me or take away from the joy or positivity that I'm feeling from something else. That's been a really tough dance, because that's something that's easy to bring home. Especially, to keep it blunt, there's probably a lot of people that we go see at work that would not view us in the same light if they saw us in street clothes dressed like this. Yeah. Period, point blank. And so not having that thought of like, I know what you probably think of me if I wasn't wearing this uniform or if, whatever, but not having that affect how I treat other people and like giving them the benefit of the doubt at least, or not carrying that with me, kind of looking for that opportunity to call it out, because that's another easy one. I know you're watching me in the store. Like I could confront you about it because I know and I'm looking forward to challenging you on that. But like
I got stick good shit. I love the smoke.
Yeah, but that
I can't.
But so
shit.
that's been the trickiest thing for me recently is like, okay, just stay focused on the task at hand, the things that matter. Don't let anybody disrupt your joy. Protect the family. Don't get mad. But that's been the trickiest thing that I have to deal with, especially as of lately, because there's so many reasons where I could fly off the whim and get upset about X, Y, and Z, and carrying a lot, being able to let out a little bit of steam on this situation might not be called for, but we open the door for it, so you might just get everything that's been built up. So that's been the trickiest thing that I've had to deal with, kind of in a general sense.
Okay, yeah, man. I resonate for sure with all those at some level, but like the last one for sure, the don't get angry thing. I think for me it's not a lovely season for not getting angry, I think. And I think for me it's a big reminder to just be like, I try to tell myself like, some of those fights you can't win alone. So I try to stay in for me at least, I just try to stay in the realm of like, stay in the lane of the things you can meaningfully impact. And try to let the things that are not within your actual genuine control not take up too much space. And so one of the things I've just been trying to do, because I can resonate with that. Like I'll read some of the newspaper, I'll watch them on the I'm always reading, which is a gift and a fucking curse. And then I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I can't believe that happened. And then like, the repealing of the Civil Rights Act and the fucking Voting Rights Act. And like, I'm just like, holy shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like and it's so easy to walk around angry in a way that like, none of our white counterparts are going to care about that kind of thing. Or like even stuff that happens in the way, like things that happen to my nieces and nephews. Like there's so many things all the time. It's so easy to be pissed off all the time. And then that's the whole thing is like, I already know. I'm like, oh, but if I'm angry, bro, I'm inside that fucking stereotype. And now I'm immediately going to get different treatment. And it's like, there's just also too, if I'm being blunt, I'd be real and say there's never a good time for a person of color to be angry. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I could point to someone in public and be like, yeah, when that black dude got angry, everyone really had the space to hear that and process that. But I must turn on the news once a week to hear a rant from a fucking news figure, a Tucker Carlson, a sports coach, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just such an interesting thing. So, and then also too, like our job does, bro, like it for sure does add compounding stress. Yeah. And I don't think I felt it initially, but the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing like it is like they say, there is like second you get the job, there's like a sink running. And initially you have such a fucking big bucket that you're like, I'm good, bro. Even on the bad calls, I mean, I think they fuck you up, but you're just like, whatever. And then it's true that over time, like, be hanging out with Huck and yada yada. And I just know I'm like, you're underslept. It was a super stressful shift. You were just busy. You didn't feel like you could get anything done. Then you carry that stress of how little you maybe got done in that way. And then then someone cuts you off in traffic. And then you find out, oh, they got me at that bullshit school light. Their school wasn't even in session. It wasn't blinking. You owe me 125. Like, shut the fuck up. And next thing you know, Huck's got something. I'm like, buddy, I told you this 7 times. And now you're like, now I'm not my best self. Like, it's tough to off gas enough. And at the same time, like, I think you and I both have that commonality where like, man, our family and our kids are the most important thing in our life. And so when we don't bring our best selves to it, it weighs heavy. You're just like that. They're the ones that get the A's. If anyone should get the A's and like the best I have, they should be the ones getting, my A's. And I'm not trying to say we should be showing up to work, not delivering the best we could, but I'm saying like somewhere's got to bleed, and it's really tough to walk back into your life and have that sensation of like, I hate those days. Like when I have to drop Huck off and I'm like, oh, dude, I was not the best dad. Like that is just like angering. I'm like, I wish I could get time back. I wish I could run it back. So
well, it sucks too because they're old enough now to understand and pick up on. It's one thing when they're 2, 3, 4 years old and they just, but like I'll say something in traffic and I'll be like, dude, what are you doing? And then both their heads pop like, with the car in front of you, like, why are you mad, Dad? Like, everybody's not a good driver. So trying to like reel it back in because they're aware and they know what's going on now. Like I really got to be even more.
You're so much better about that, bro. You're so much more even keeled than me. I need to work on that.
Bro,
I'm in the car snapping, bro, crashing out for sure.
I'll tell you, I remember the moment that it clicked in my head. I was driving with Mia. She was in the back seat, and I don't remember. We might have been in Spokane, but there was this lady. She was probably drugged out, down on her whatever, but she was basically gonna walk out into the street in front of the car without waiting to see if I was gonna stop. Not like trying to hurt herself, but like they'll stop.
Just assume.
And I'm like,
and no right away.
And in my mind, I'm like, lady, you're gonna get killed doing that. And I said it out loud, and Mia's like, what? She's gonna get killed? And I'm like, she was probably like 4 or 5 at the time, maybe 6. And I was like, damn, like I gotta explain one, like why I said that, because she has no idea. She's old enough to like understand what these words mean, but and I was like, oh, she's back there listening. Like I really got to be mindful of like what I say in traffic, what I do, because I still remember. Like I remember being in the back seat of my mom's car or my dad's car, and we're late to practice, and I remember looking over at the speedometer, like I know what the speed limit sign says, and I can see what the speedometer says, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm never worried about it. But then in my mind, when I get to 16, 17 years old. And mom and dad, they were cruising to practice at whatever miles per hour. Like it's okay to go ahead, go above it. And so like always being mindful that I'm setting that example, because I don't want to. You're good about set that, the wrong. Man. Yeah, I don't want to set the wrong
You're
example.
Good about that, my man.
It's
So I grew up with a dad. I grew up with a dad and mom who would just annihilate in the car the person that crossed out. And I got it so bad that I'm driving down the street one time and like this guy cuts me off, whatever, and I just put my hand and I go like that. And Huck goes, what was that? And I go, you ever seen the X-Men? He goes, yeah. I go, sometimes I wish I was just Magneto and could be like, bye. He's like, I think I'm teaching the wrong lesson. I gotta cool it. But like that is such a good thing to do for them, man. And that's awesome that you have that awareness. I think for me, it's so tough because I'm like, bro, sometimes that is emotional regulation is also just, I didn't come from the most emotionally regulated background. Like I met your pop, only the little bit I did in your mom. And I'm like, these people are far more even keeled than either of my parents, bro. Like, yeah. That's where all the words come from too. Is just I have big talkers, big energy, big like, blah, 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 blah. So, but no, man, that's really great. I'm glad to hear that. Like, you're keeping an eye on that. I need to. It's a great reminder for me. Like I just got to be aware of that. But
bro, part of it, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a little splash of CTE, and if I do fly off the handle, I don't know if I can reel it back in. Yeah. So like really just staying like that's my demeanor for one. I don't wish anybody unwell or like, so like if I can keep it composed, I never have to worry about what that looks like.
Totally.
So. And then people are crazy nowadays.
Oh yeah.
So if I match your energy or if I instigate something to get you.
I definitely don't instigate.
Yeah. So like if anything like.
But I love showing up after it's already started.
Yeah. But yeah. So I just try and keep it calm and chill and whatever. Just don't get mad.
Yeah. But at the same time, man, like the way you carry yourself, that is the part that's unimpeachable. Always work so hard. Always so capable. Always so kind, and just like. Truly just a homie to so many, man. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you sharing, and like I hope to have you all back. Like I'm planning to just do a fuck around session with just like you and Waldo and like
that'll be a good one.
Have Tobe come out.
See if we can slum Gun out there.
And just bro, Gun would love to fucking come out and just like to crack up, I'm sure. But like that's the whole point, like long term. But I just think it's just it's so fun to talk to the cast of characters in my life who like add meaning to my days and help me stay on track and are places that I can turn to and people that I learn from. And so much of what I see, like you said, I know you're doing that in so many ways for your boys, thinking about how you're carrying yourself. But just remember, like, there's grown men, that are around you all the time, myself included, that are watching you going like, oh shit, I probably should do that. Or like, like that sounds like a good fucking idea. That was a good plan. Why wouldn't I doing that? So I think in some ways, not that you're thinking that, but like, just know, like, man, like the way you carry yourself, it's a powerful thing, and it leaks out far beyond just your own immediate family to people that you might even consider peers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So It's an awesome thing, bro. But outside of that, bro, I just appreciate you coming on, being vulnerable, telling people what's up, and sharing all the things you did.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy, kicking it, chopping it up, giving me a space to be able to just share. Because, like I said, this isn't my thing. Like, I have no problem sharing. Yeah, public speaking is no fear. Spoken in front of thousands with cameras, whatever. But at the same time, it's gotta, like, for me, it just has to be pulled out. Like, it's not something that I'm volunteering to do. So I appreciate you inviting me.
100%, man. And I will say, man, you're obviously incredibly articulate and smart, but like, I think you also are, and not that you wouldn't think you're sharp, but like, you really do have like a really high level communication skill set. You know what I mean? Like, the things you say are very clear and they're very like digestible. Like, I always know what the hell you're talking about, and it always makes sense. I'm overly wordy. And I speak I could talk really in a big wide circle before we get back to the point. And I think you just have a good efficiency with what you talk about. But anyways, man, yeah, dude, look forward to the next one.
Yeah, man.
Cool.